Hello Duderinos and Duderinas, and welcome to the recommendation round, the show where I briefly recommend a handful of movies within a particular subject, because I'm just crazy about movies like that. Do you ever get the feeling that the neighbor is watching you through your windows? That somebody is following you home at night? That any day now you'll start receiving cryptic messages in the mail, or that somebody is moving stuff around in your house when you're not looking? Good. Because today we're talking about psycho thrillers. Those movies where regular people are antagonized by complete and utter maniacs. So clench your buttholes tight, everybody. This one is gonna get tense. We're starting off a good while ago with 1963's Wait Until Dark. Here Audrey Hepburn plays a recently blinded woman who is just starting to get her bearings and get used to life without sight. Through a series of events, her husband unknowingly comes into possession of a doll that is stuffed to the brim with smuggled heroin and leaves it for her as a present as he heads off on a business trip. The smugglers, however, want their doll back, and seeing that it's just with a blind woman, they figure they can just lie to her face and search for the doll right under her nose. Unfortunately, she's a lot more observant than they think, which doesn't deter their terrifying leader Rhodes in the slightest. Watching shady men crawl over Audrey Hepburn's apartment and openly lie to her face while she herself is completely in the dark is a harrowing experience that just makes you beg for her to notice any sign at all as to what is actually going on. And once Rhodes, played to perfection by Alan Arkin, takes off the kid gloves, the movie gets terrifying. Wait Until Dark is a great heart pounder for those with a taste for classic Hollywood hairneck teasers. Especially when it starts putting you in Audrey's position. Who put buckets in my kitchen? Jeez! You know, the 80s and 90s were absolutely crawling with movies about people being targeted by absolute psychopaths. And yet nobody ever really seems to talk about The Hand That Rocks the Cradle from 1992. In this movie, a family woman drives her gynecologist to suicide after rightfully pointing out that he seems to be having a little too much fun at work. Naturally, the wife of said gynecologist is not too happy about this, and ends up taking a position at said woman's house as a nanny in order to get close and get her revenge. But then killing her would be entirely too simple, wouldn't it? Especially when you can slowly manipulate the entire family to turn against her and then take over her place in the household. Right, ladies? Now, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle is hardly what I would call a thriller masterpiece exactly, but it is a very tense little movie that brings the danger very, very close to home and makes you question what kind of people you give access to your home for what reason, and just how much power that actually gives them. The lengths that Peyton, Rebecca De Mornay's character, goes to get her revenge are so deeply personal and so disturbing that the movie becomes very uncomfortable to watch at times, and until the inevitable violent climax, she has the whole family firmly wrapped around her little finger. Filmed in 1955 but taking place during the Great Depression, The Night of the Hunter tells the story of a young boy whose father robs a bank. Before the father is arrested for this and taken to death row, however, he hides the money somewhere in his home and makes his son swear to never tell anyone where it is. Unfortunately, the father also talks in his sleep, and soon enough reveals the fact that the money exists to his cellmate, the viciously psychotic and murderous preacher named Harry Powell. Soon enough, Harry gets out of jail and makes it his mission to enter the boy's family and find out where the money is hidden. Now, this one is a masterpiece, even if I gotta admit that it drags a bit in places. Like many greats, it was misunderstood when it was first released and ended director Charles Laughton's career before it even truly began. But today, it is considered one of the most chilling movies of all time. And outside of its gripping tension, its contemplations of good and evil intentions, and the hardships that children face, there is one core reason for this. And his name is Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum is terrifying as Harry Powell. And with his scowl, his booming voice, his black outfit, his ruthlessness, and his tattooed knuckles, he has become one of the most iconic movie villains of all time. One that has been referenced, copied, and parodied again and again and again. So if you want to see where the idea of villains with tattooed knuckles came from and how it made such a big impact, look no further than Night of the Hunter. And try not to blindly trust anyone who claims moral superiority over you. Just a little hint. Now let's move a little bit closer to modern day with 1 Hour Photo. It's just after the turn of the millennium and digital cameras are starting to enter the market, but there are still plenty of photo developers around, such as Seymour Parrish, played by Robin Williams, who takes great pride in his work. However, Seymour is a very, very lonely man, and he starts fixating on a family that he comes to believe is perfect from their pictures, fantasizing about being a part of that family. So when he starts seeing evidence that the father is being unfaithful through some pictures on one of the cameras, he decides that it's up to him to fix them. Fittingly for a movie about photography, 1 Hour Photo is just as beautiful to look at in its cold isolation as it is painful to watch. Unlike the other entries on this list, the maniac psychosis comes from a deep sense of loneliness that is clearly eating him up from inside. And any scene that focuses on him in his solitude makes it feel like it's starting to take a couple bites out of you too. The real draw of the movie is Robin Williams' performance. With just a slight attitude tweak, he manages to show what his usual mannerisms as a kind, sweet, funny and eccentric man can also signify, and it is absolutely horrifying. You will never feel quite as sorry as you do here for a man who goes out of his way to stalk an innocent family, and you will feel every ounce of pain that he does, no matter how sweet a smile he shoots anyone who talks to him for a minute. I don't throw this around lightly, but I think 1 Hour Photo might be one of my favorite movies from the year 2000 till right now. I strongly urge you to watch it. Well, since we just got our freak on for a few minutes, let's take a breather and return to nice, comfortable reality where nobody is getting murdered or stalked. Especially not the lady next door who leaves for work at 7:33 every morning and is slowly starting to want the attention of men again after a heartbreaking divorce 8 months ago, and who is just ripe for the picking for the first guy who shoots her a smile and tells her she's pretty, and whose favorite color is ocean blue and who prefers her pizza. Well, that's it for now. If you like this video, please remember to click the like button and leave me a comment about some of your favorite psycho thrillers. Now, I have many more videos like this planned, but I still want to hear from you guys. Are there some subjects you'd like me to recommend a few movies from? If so, use this hashtag in the comment section below or on any of my social media, and we'll see if I get around to it in the future. Of course, my Patreon page might have a way to persuade me to get around to your suggestion a little sooner. Hint, hint. In any case, see you guys later. No, seriously, don't bother locking the doors. I copied all your keys and memorized all your combinations. I hope you like rabbits too. Bye.